the functional constituencies set out, and many of you will know that some of these functional constituencies have very few voters. But what I want to emphasize here is a fragmented interest. So if each of these functional constituencies are defending their own particular interests and not interested in anything else, and they are prepared to trade with the government on their particular interests, then you don't have stability. In fact, you have instability. The government will never be able to call the shots. So you have to address that this is not a recipe for stability. Now, the second table I have provided is the table of affiliation of legislators. And you can see the convergence between the pro-government lobbies and their source of power in the functional constituencies. So again, this is not a situation of particular groups using their expertise to assist in governance. They are very much the opposite. They are claiming the seats in order to protect the electorate, the interests of their particular electorate. And the final table is about our powers, the voting procedure. So you can see how the minority can dominate the majority in the Legislative Council. Now, when that happens, you have to ask, is that a fair system? You must always go before the public and ask them, knowing these facts, do you think this is a fair system? Knowing these facts, do you say that this is a recipe for stability, for stable government? Because when you constantly suppress the minority might just feel wrong. But if you constantly suppress the majority, you will have a rebellion. So this is not a recipe for stability. Now finally, what is the journey? I like the idea of a journey. No, if this is our aim, whatever the government says, if universal suffrage is the aim of the Legislative Council, universal suffrage cannot but mean the abolition of functional constituencies. And you cannot abolish functional constituencies by simply saying, we will keep the seats, but allow more people to vote for them. Because what it means is that if you are not even talking about whether it is consistent with Article 25, which Professor Lim had talked about, I simply say, as a matter of reality, if you say that you must elect one lawyer, now which lawyer will be able to campaign before 3.5 million voters and get a majority of votes? It's bound to be the lawyer which the government had seen fit to put before the public and build up the image, because you won't personally have the money to campaign for that person. So that is not going to work. Now, so what can we do? What can we do if we want to? My worry is really not so much because I'm passionate about human rights and I think that this ideal has to be achieved. My worry is very practical. As a legislator of more than 12 years, I have been having a very close look at governance. How do you govern a complicated city of Hong Kong? And that is quite apart from what can Hong Kong do as the part which will bring the whole, which is China, towards democracy. It is basically a matter of governance. So I offer this particular method and strategy, that education, social activism, know what the other 35% is thinking, try to disabuse them of this view. Now, in the election arena, what should you do? I think the last thing you should do is to turn your backs on functional constituencies. Look at this list again. Look at this list again. And ask yourself, how many Democrats can take the seats, the functional constituency seats? How many of you can stand for election in these functional constituencies on the ticket that I I have put before my electorate, and I'm very proud to say that, that Gladys was my campaign manager, and we decided to use this as a platform. My platform is to abolish functional constituencies, including my constituency, as soon as possible, and I will do everything to push it. Secondly, I will not put the sector's interest, that lawyers' interest, before the interest of the community. That I must always, if you vote for me, must always be to serve the community. Now, why do I suggest this? If you are elected on this ticket, then you will see, you will demonstrate that functional constituencies are no good for the constituency themselves, that they are going to get nothing out of it. Because if the sector's interest comes up against the public interest, they are going to lose, that you are not going to do that for them. Now, if this is, the message is clear, if we have enough people who put their money where their mouth is, and if they win the elections in sufficient functional constituencies, then functional constituencies will not have the effect that they were designed to achieve. And that may be a very strongly persuasive argument for functional constituencies to be abolished. And now you can look at this table and the first table and the voting procedure with a new eye. You don't have to take 15 seats in a functional constituency. You can only take, all you need is maybe 10, and you will be able to call the shots. That is an achievable goal, and I recommend that to you. Thank you very much.